Greetings, YouTube. This is the Garage Autonomist. Nothing is more annoying than having to see a bunch of degreed state and city employees, or state city employees in my case, lining up like it's Thanksgiving morning at the homeless shelter. It's ridiculous. Almost literally running over each other for the president's annual Christmas party. Now, I don't go to these fucking things. I never have. I may have gone during my rookie years here at the job, but this is bullshit. And it's just so fucking annoying. When in the meantime, we just got our union negotiated raise that they have been negotiating with our employers for almost 6 fucking years. And now the employers feel like going ahead and letting the help have the chicken back once a year. Fuck that. It's ridiculous. Anyway, it's always annoyed me. I really wanted to touch base with you all and just say hi because I know that you haven't really been seeing a lot of content from me as frequently as you might see at times, and I'm starting to learn now the difference. Where the job's schedule kind of fits in with what I'm able to do on YouTube now that it's been a full year of this channel being up and running. So now I get it. This time of year and then towards the end of May are the 2 times when obviously I'm going to be at my most busiest. So it won't be so easy to be able to put out, like, say, 2 videos a week. I never really set a goal. There were times when I just thought I was only able to do things like 1 video a week. And this time around, I've been able to there have been times when I've been able to do, 3 videos a week at times, and then, maybe just 2. So just letting you guys know, I didn't fall off the edge of the planet or nothing like that. It's just a little bit busier than I thought it would be. But anyway, I have a video coming up, though, where I wanted to talk about political consciousness of the everyday brother and sister. When I say brother and sister, I don't mean just black people, of course. I mean just anybody and everybody who basically makes this country run, i.e. those of us who work for a living. And I just saw a video by Stimulator. Now, Stimulator is the channel. Maybe I've talked about him before. I'll put a link in the low bar to his channel. Stimulator is a channel that, if I had a different life, this channel would grow up to be his channel. Very well edited, very well produced, very hitting over your head with anarchist politics, and I believe from a very strong class perspective. If you haven't seen his stuff, please go see it. I'm going to put the link in the low bar when I end this small chat. And one of the things that he touched on in his, I think it was more like a little annual address or something that he wanted to do. His channel's been on for about 10 years now. And one of the things that he hit on was, encouraging other people to do, to make their own channels, like I did in my thank you video a while back. And one of the things that he brought up, which is very important, is that, If you're going, coming on as a revolutionary, as a radical in social media, the one thing you wanted to do was to make material that would be accessible for people. Uh, then he, gave us a snippet of some little smug anarchist using all his little academic, really, they weren't even academic terminologies, because I don't really have a problem embracing academic technology, and I'll get to that academic terms and terminology, and I'll get to that in a second. As to why I don't have a problem with it. And I'll get to that in a second as to why I don't have a problem with it. But the issue is that he was talking about how, you need to make it just something that people can sit and really understand and listen to without using a lot of terminology that's really more specific to whatever your ideology is. So even if you're not an anarchist, if you happen to be an authoritarian social, like a regular socialist, right? One who believes in the state and believes in state socialism, then what you would do is that you would try to make it understandable. I don't like to use the word bourgeoisie, for instance. I like to use the term ruling class a lot. And as dogmatic as that term may sound, I really don't have any other word to use. But I do know that rather than using the bourgeoisie every 5 minutes or every 5 seconds in a video, I'd rather use the ruling class anyway. It just seems far more accessible as a term. But I don't shy away from other certain terminology, and I'll tell you why. I was looking at a video not too long ago, and this is not the main point of the video. Has nothing to do. It's just this is the video. It's called "The Three Generations of Cuban Women Speak Out." It's a very good video. It's really about three. It's obviously an Afro-Cuban family. The grandmother was old enough to have remembered what Cuba was like before Castro took over. This was a country that was basically, in terms of racial politics, it was based on. It was very much like the Jim Crow South. And then the revolution came and it got rid of those laws. Also, you're talking about a 90-something% illiteracy rate amongst black Cubans at the time. The Cuban Revolution changed that. Yeah, I could get into a deeper conversation about the Cuban Revolution at a different time. The point is that the older woman here spoke eloquently. Now, my Spanish wasn't that great enough to hear what she was saying, but on one end, she wasn't speaking in a way that that showed that she was uneducated. So obviously she was. And she wasn't speaking in a way that sounded like she was straight up like a party boss, like scripted by the party there, although I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. My point here is that when you educate your working class, when you educate your poor, okay, you're dealing with a different kind of person. You're dealing with someone who could be capable of actually running their own country if they wanted to. And that's really the whole point of when we say, when you hear the term libertarian socialist, or you hear the term anarcho-communist, or any of those other fancy terms, that's what we're talking about. Is real when those who work, those who make a country move, those who make a community function, when it's they who are in the seat of power, all right, they are educated, they are politically educated, they know what's going on in the world, they know what's going on in their own communities, and then because of it, they're actually active and organizing in that community. Then that is when they are in true leadership. Not a party boss like Cuba, not what has always happened in Cuba, not any of that crap. Okay, in other words, not a vanguard party, not a leadership party made up of you know, highly educated, a different class of people. Okay? So, and that is, of course, when I talk about, if I wanted to talk about the failure of the Cuban Revolution, I talk about that. But really, I just wanted to point out that the older woman was not was not an ignorant woman when she spoke. She knew exactly about the country she was living in before Fidel. She knew about the country that she was living in afterwards. Now, the younger woman, and she's very intelligent, obviously. She has talents. She wants to be a musician. She bought into how musicians live and what they're doing in America or the UK and in other parts of the world, where she believes that things are so privileged in the West that we have nothing else better to do but to give money to artists, which is bullshit. You're either lucky or you're not. You either need to follow a certain formula and make your music as stupid as possible and actually less musical. If you really want to go there, then, you can make it. I can't see anyone in the current industry right now looking at her, not even in the indie industry, looking at her and saying, yeah, you're the girl. We're going to give you a contract. But who knows? The point here is that she wants to do better. She wants more. This makes a lot of sense because of the U.S. embargo against Cuba. She doesn't know anything else but a bunch of stalled cars in the streets and people just struggling. But again, you can thank the U.S. embargo for that. The point here is that not socialism, breaking or not working. The point is that she's a young woman who's 10 times more educated than the average woman of any race in the United States, to be honest with you. So what I'm saying is that they transformed their poor. They've transformed the working class to be a thinking people. Thank you, Elm City. Thank you. Sorry about that. I had my screen blocked for a minute, so I didn't see your last message. Thank you for thumbs upping this video. Then you will get a different kind of citizenry. You will get a different kind of people who will want to have something to do with their society. So I'm going to come up with a video soon to go into a little bit more detail of this. I really just wanted to get on here and rant at my annoyance at my colleagues and coworkers. Actually, I left my cell phone elsewhere. And actually, because I was so busy today, this was pretty much my lunch break, and it's almost an hour from now. It's time for me to go home. So I just wanted to tune in with y'all. Tonight is food for thought. We're going to be I was thinking at first about calling it Love Capitalism Style, where we, talk about how much capitalism actually has a hand in the way we choose mates and stuff. But I'm thinking about changing that and just putting it to a free-for-all discussion tonight. It's too much of a not a heavy-handed subject. It's too much of a heavy-handed subject where I didn't put enough thought into leading the discussion well enough tonight. So that's why I'm going to change it to just an open mic night. People want to get into the chat room, and you're invited. I'll invite you in. Whoever, of course, you have to be somebody I know who you are, unfortunately. If you're brand new, maybe next time. But we're just going to do an open mic night if you want to get on and talk about whatever, or we can just talk about whatever from the chat room. So, that I'll be doing that later tonight on Food for Thought. I'm just going to change the title a little bit later in the evening. But this is basically what I wanted to say, that politics, political consciousness for the everyday sister and brother, it exists. But if we're talking about the left, those of us who are radical, those of us who are progressive, who are activists, we've got to get our game right in raising political consciousness with those who we say are oppressed, with those who we say that we're representing, or for some of us who we actually come from those communities. We've got to do a better job at helping to raise political consciousness and not take this position of being the vanguard and leaders. Because if we don't do that, I can guarantee you, people who are the working class layer in Russia, I bet if you put them next to people who are the working class layer in Cuba, you're going to get two different kinds of people. Not just in, of course, not just in appearance, I'm talking about, but in terms of their political perspective and global perspective. I bet it's going to be completely different. I bet I could take the grandmother that you see here and I could put her in a lectern hall right now. And she could tell us about why Cuba was in South Africa back in the 70s. She could talk to us about a lot of things. How are the workers? So how should workers organize? Like, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I thought about that. I'm going to work on this video. I wanted to come in and just give you all a shout out and say I'm still here, but yeah, I just got really busy, and so I busted my deadline for the political consciousness for the Everyday Brother and Sister video. Y'all didn't know I was going to make it, but that's what I was going to do, and it just got late. So I just want to give you all a shout out and say goodbye. And I'll see you all later tonight at Food for Thought, where we're just going to have an open mic night and just talk about whatever is at our heart's content. I'll definitely have some subjects to talk about later tonight. All right, y'all. Peace. Thank you so much for tuning in.